I am making what I like to refer to as some common wax. Now, common wax to me is a term that I use based on mixing all different types of wax together into one everything type wax, or like I said, I call it a common wax. And in this wax, it's just old candles, birthday candles, any kind of wax that I can find anywhere in the house. I put them all together, whether it's paraffin, whether it's soy wax, whether it's beeswax, fixin' wax, whatever kind of wax that I can get my hands on, I put it out here. Now, you can see that I have a little sieve here with a blue shop towel. This is going to be a filter. I have a big bowl, stainless steel bowl that I'm going to filter it into. And I have this little pie tin upside down to create a little bit of space between the work surface and this bowl, because the wax is going to be really hot when it goes into this bowl, so that's why I keep this pie tin down here, just to kind of make things not as hot. So you can see that right now I have the wax on a stove. Got it on an MSR rapid fire stove right now, and I'm heating the wax up. You got to be real careful during this step, because if there's any kind of moisture, water, or anything like that in the wax, you'll get popping and the wax will jump out. So safety glasses is definitely recommended. This is the same type of filter setup that I like to use when I'm making beeswax, when I like to render beeswax. So again, it's very crude, very simple. I just pour it through. The funny thing about common wax is you don't ever know what the color is gonna look like, what the texture is gonna look like, what the smell is gonna look like, because you might have like Christmas candles that are old and burnt out, and you might have Thanksgiving, and so you might have those kind of smells, and you might have something like coconut or peppermint or something, and you might have some red or green or blue, whatever color. So it's kind of neat when you make common wax, because you don't know what you're going to end up with. You don't know what it's going to smell like or what it's going to look like. The look is basically, if you got a lot of green, it's going to be darker. If you got a lot of blue, you know, if you got a lot of red, it just kind of depends. So you'll end up with the color. It's usually kind of a weird color, and the color is, it's hard to say what it's going to look like. Most of the time when I make common wax, the color is a brownish kind of color, and the smell is more like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a mix of everything. I would not recommend using common wax for making candles that you're going to use in your house, because of the mix of scents and things like that, and the mixes of different types of waxes. And you don't want that wax burning in your house where you're breathing that in. Beeswax is what I like to burn inside of my house, because it's really healthy for me. So when you mix waxes like this, making common wax, I highly recommend against making those candles for inside. I use this wax for making fire starters. I use it for making outdoor candles, things of that nature. Because this is a mix of beeswax, it's a mix of paraffin wax, it's got soy in it, and so the texture can vary as well as the scent and the color. The texture is based on what is the majority in this wax. Is it mostly beeswax? Is it mostly, you know, paraffin based candles that you had, birthday candles? So you never really know what you're going to get. So obviously you can see that I'm running it through a filter. I use these little blue shop towels. They're excellent for a filter, and I always try to make sure that the temperature of the wax is good and hot when I go through this filtration process, because if the wax is just barely liquid, it'll foul up in my my filter here, and it won't flow through freely. So once I get everything out of this container, I'll let it filter through as much as it'll go, and then when I get tired of holding this this sieve here, I'll set it right on the container and I'll let it finish in there, and then I'll pour it through later. I'm gonna just let it solidify on its own over time. I'm not going to put it in the fridge to help it go faster or anything like that. There's a lot of different molecules that are being involved right now in these different types of wax. So there's all kinds of chemicals and things going on. So I just like to let this thing settle on its own. Sometimes, on rare occasions, you will have a separation so when you get the wax, you'll have like 2 different layers of types of wax that'll kind of bond together. But most of the time everything stays together into a common wax. If you have wood handles, you want to put some wax on your wood handles or of your hammers or something like that. That's what I use this for. Mostly fire starters and stuff like that. I can make dip candles such as these guys here in the background. Let's see. So I make these dip candles where I just dip cotton string in there. That was an old common wax. It ended up being pink. That was a lot of lighter waxes that I had, and it was a small batch. But this is a big batch. This bowl is a big bowl, and it's going to make a nice amount of wax for me. These small loaf pans, they're aluminum and they work good. So if you want to make like common wax ingots, for example, you just find whatever aluminum type mold that you want to use, and you can use the mold to make common wax as well. So instead of having it in this big container where it's going to be hard, where you have to chip away at it and things like that, you can have little ingots which are going to be more easily able to put in a pan and melt back down and pour into candles or whatever you're going to want to be making. But in our case today, I have a big batch. I'm just going to put it out in the shop for storage, and so I don't want it in ingots. That's why I'm choosing this big pan today. You notice that the flow of filtration has slowed down. I still have maybe, I don't know, 1/3 of a cup in there. I'm going to just set this right here and let it sit, because I don't feel like holding it all day. And then what'll happen is the wax that filters through here, I'll melt it back down and then I'll pour it into here. Right here I have a couple different examples, a few of them actually, of different forms of common wax that I chose to make into ingots using those aluminum molds. These were a bunch of waxes that were all brown in color, so I added them together and it made like a brown color. These ones were like white, and I think there was like 1 green or something that I got thrown in there. So those are those ingots. This one is a real hard one. It's a good wax. And then these ones are the green ones that I just made. In fact, I haven't even taken them out of the molds yet. Pretty easy. They come out pretty easy. Look at those. Those look nice. I usually take a knife and I'll do it over the pot here, but I get rid of this edge here, so I just kind of take a knife and I'll just let it fall in. I'll let it fall in just like that. Nothing too crazy. And then it's nice and cleaned up and it's ready to go. So this other one, let's come back over here, see if I can get this one out. Usually just a couple little slams. Then you have these containers that are ready for the next batch, and here's the ingot that just came out. Let's go back over to bowl again. Yeah, we'll just get rid of that little edge, and I just let it fall in there. Just kind of cleans it up a little bit, makes it nice. And that's just gonna add. Now this batch that I'm working on right now that's in the bowl, this is all kinds of colors: brown, green, blue, purple, white. There's all kinds of colors in there. So that's just an example of what these ingots can look like with common wax. So they're very easy to manage, they're easy to melt down, and sometimes, you know, like I showed in these other examples, sometimes you'll have like a half of one, and that's kind of cool. They're real small, real light, easy to manage. and then you can easily look on the shelf, and if you're going to be making something, you can say, oh, I want these ones, I like that color. Or, you know, these ones actually were like a bunch of Christmas stuff, and they kind of still smell Christmassy. I'll try to put all my wax in a box like this, and it'll be sitting on the shelf in the box just like that. That just seems to make things a little bit easier. I can actually close it, tape it shut, and then I know that this box is full of common wax. So when I have it nice and sealed, there's no dust getting on it, and it's clean, and so it can sit out there for a year or two, and then when I open it back up, I can see exactly what's inside. And there's no spider webs on it, no dirt or nothing. It's clean, ready to go. This wax has been sitting out here, oh, I'd say about an hour, and it's still kind of soft to the touch. But you can see that it's starting to get that little bit of hardness to it. Let's take a look and see if we can get this to come out. There's a look at it. So I'm going to take a little rag and just kind of wipe off the moisture. And this is how I will store my wax, in a big block like this. And whenever I get ready to make candles or anything like that, I'll come out here and I will put the knife in it, and I'll break off a chunk depending on what size I want and how many candles I'm wanting to make, or whatever I need the wax for. I'll come out and cut off the appropriate amount, and then I'll be able to do what I need to do. So that there is the color of the common wax. It has a very nice light brown color to it. It's fairly soft, and this is a good way of storing it. Again, because it's in one solid piece, and you know, it might get dirty or whatever, dusty by storing it, but that's okay, because when I break it off into pieces, to chunks, to use it, I can heat up each block and run it through a filter and then render whatever I need to render, you know, whether it's candles or wax for wooden handles or whatever the case might be. So folks, I want to say thank you for joining me today on this video on how to make common wax. Again, that's a term that I call it. It's just every kind of wax that I could find. I hope you got some good, useful information out of this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below, like this video, share this video, and if you like the type of content that you see on my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you. And until next time, thanks again for watching, folks, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Now get out there and make you some common wax. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.